What is up, guys? It's me, the ALE Double X Prince. As you can tell, I got my Marvel Cinematic Universe hat on, which means that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Pretty much, it's just going to be me rambling and just talking about what I think is going to happen for the remainder of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and everything that's just going to go on. Before I get started, let me just start off by saying that the next phase of the cinematic universe, I'm excited for it. The thing is, this idea that we have to sit through 20 more movies to get to something as epic as Endgame is gonna be kind of like, alright. I feel like now what they should do is just pretty much just focus on just doing their own series. Like, if anything, if I were them personally, I would just do what they did with the DC extended universe, what they're doing. Not necessarily like bringing everybody together, but just like throwing them out there. Like, you know, because if we do that, we will probably get like a proper like series. Like, honestly, like while I think Endgame is a far superior superhero movie, probably one of the best movies out there, Shazam was a lot more entertaining to watch, just in the sense that it was just a simple, just have fun movie, just laid back. It wasn't setting up anything other than its own series. We might have like other characters involved, but for the most part, it did its job. It just had fun, and I think that's what I just want out of this next phase. And we're gonna have a very different phase. It's gonna be a lot different now that Disney Plus is coming up in November. Not only are we gonna have movies, but we're also gonna have the TV shows connect to this universe. So it's just kind of like really hard. And I brought water because I'm gonna talk here for a while. Anyways, basically what I'm gonna do is talk about every character we might see, every character we that are dead, and spoilers for every single Marvel Cinematic Universe. You should probably get them by now. So if you haven't even seen Endgame, I recommend you to leave, just like Tom Holland said in his trailer. Anyways, let's just get to the point. Now, since I'm gonna be talking about every character, let's get the obvious ones out of the way. Let's talk about the original six, which would be Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Scarlet Witch, and Hawkeye. They pretty much got their send-offs at Avengers Endgame. If you guys remember, Avengers Endgame had all the cast, and then they had like their goodbyes. Pretty much that doesn't really necessarily mean goodbye, based on where Thor goes. But clearly they're not gonna be the main focus. For the most part, they're just gonna be side characters, and I think the most proper thing to say is that Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., and Chris Evans, Captain America, are gone for good. They're not going to come back. They're not going to do spin-offs. They're not going to do anything else. I think they're just done for the day. Honestly, Robert Downey Jr. had a good run with this. Honestly, he's like a freaking the biggest star ever at this point. If anything, based on the history of Robert Downey Jr., I think he just retired, because I've seen him do other work like Sherlock Holmes. He did a cameo on Chef. He really hasn't done much other than Iron Man these past couple years. I think it's time to call it quits. I think that should be Endgame should probably be Robert Downey Jr.'s last movie. Chris Evans obviously is going to do more Oscar bait things. I mean, he's pretty good for that. I mean, he did a movie called Snowpiercer, very underrated movie. I highly recommend that movie. But as far as everybody else goes, back to that comment I made about how they should just focus on just making good movies, just fun action movies like Shazam, and even to an extent Aquaman, even though I wasn't that big of a fan of that movie. Black Widow, even though she's gone, there's chances of possible prequels. Let's stop having them connect to everything. Let's just have a fun movie. That's why Captain Marvel didn't do so good. Or, I mean, it made money. It just wasn't that exciting, just because, well, just for starters, Brie Larson's kind of a cocky bitch. But we'll get to her. But we can do stuff like that. Hawkeye. This guy, I think, could have a Disney Plus series. A lot of people are talking about him training his daughter. I don't want to see that. I personally don't want. I think we could have a next Avengers storyline in the future. I just don't think next Avengers, Young Avengers, whatever you call them. I think we could have that story, but that could wait until like maybe Phase 5, maybe even Phase 6. Once all of these kids are old enough. Or I mean, we can do it now. It's just that making a bunch of kids as Avengers is just kind of like lame and just it's just gonna feel rushed or not rushed, but it's just gonna feel kind of like lame. Um, but what I do want to see is pretty much a Ronin TV show. That sounds badass. Like picture like Hawkeye after the snap, because pretty much you got 5 years worth of material there. Just Hawkeye just turning into Ronin and just being like a killer guy. That is something I want to see. That is what I want to see out of Jeremy Renner if he comes back. And that leads me to the final two, Hulk and Thor. I'll talk about Hulk first because I really don't know what they're doing with him, but I'm pretty sure they're just gonna make him a side character and just maybe we could get the Red Hulk as General Ross. We could get She-Hulk. Maybe he could create his own like version of different Hulks and maybe expand from there. I would be okay with that. Maybe we could get a proper Planet Hulk storyline in the future. I think it's a little pushy, but it could be kind of nice. Thor, Chris Hemsworth, he already signed on for 5 movies, so that's why I saved him for the last. I hear they're gonna do a Thor 4. That's gonna be great. He's part of the Guardians now. I really hope that they actually take advantage of this. They actually use him to his full potential. Because what I didn't like about Endgame, even though I think it's the best movie of the year, I think what hurt the movie is that why the fuck was Captain Marvel there? She didn't do shit. So please take advantage of this, Marvel. Use Thor. Obviously, make the movie around the Guardians, but use Thor properly. Like, think about Spider-Verse. They use all of these Spider characters, Spider-Gwen, the original Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker's Peter Porker. But the main focus was Miles Morales. If they do a story similar to that, I think we could get like a legit story. And speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm gonna be talking about those guys next. Pretty much based on what we're seeing, I think what they're gonna do is have a. Freaking them visit the Soul World, as well as bring in Adam Warlock based on what we saw from Guardian 2. James Gunn is gonna be, this is probably gonna be his goodbye, and then after that he's gonna move on to DC Extended Universe, and hopefully he saves Suicide Squad, because I liked Suicide Squad at the time. Maybe I'll review all those movies in the future, but yeah, that kind of was a lame ass movie. That was pretty and hopefully James Gunn saves him, because I don't know, it was just kind of disappointing. Hopefully it's a soft reboot, because that first movie, I think it's safe to say we could erase that from history. We could just erase it completely. It doesn't even have to be in a Suicide Squad or a DC ranking. Like, if we rank all the DC movies, it does not have to be there. Hopefully James Gunn does that, because there's that. But anyways, back to the Guardians. Sorry. I think this is going to be the last time we see all of the Guardians together. And then afterwards, we'll see them go on their separate ways. Drax, from what I hear, Batista's kind of done with Disney after this. Especially after the whole James Gunn firing, how mad he got. There's that Mantis. I think they're going to use her for A-Force. I'll get to the A-Force in a bit. But Mantis isn't really a fighter. She's just more like the person they use every once in a while. She's not really a fighter, but she serves her purpose. Nebula, I think she could do good. Maybe she dies in this movie. I don't know. That's a possibility. There's not much she could do. Karen Gillian, I think she could do stuff outside of Marvel. She's already in Jumanji and she's kicking ass, so that's gonna be great. But let's get the two megastars out of the way. Gamora and Star-Lord. Peter Quill, Gamora, Zoe Saldana, Chris Pratt. Now, from what I hear, Disney owns Avatar now. I didn't even know it was a Fox property. I was pretty sure it was Paramount, but I guess it was Fox. Anyways, Zoe Saldana's probably gonna move on to do that. Avatar. Anyways, with that said, I think what they're gonna do here. They're gonna try to explore the Soul World and try to bring Gamora back, but it's gonna fail. I don't think they're gonna bring back Gamora from the dead. There's theories that they're gonna do. They're gonna pull a Fast and Furious 7 with Letty forgetting Dominic Toretto's memory, and stuff. What I think is gonna happen in Guardians 3, they're gonna like find the Soul World. They're gonna find Ghost Gamora. She pretty much says her goodbyes. There's absolutely nothing she could do, because if they bring her back from the dead, it's kind of pointless. Because what would be the point of that if we could bring back Black Widow? We could bring back everybody, and it's just gonna kill the vibe. It's just gonna be kind of overkill. I don't want to see the story of a Gamora not remembering stuff. Maybe it could work, but I'm just like, eh. Plus, it's James Gunn. And from what I hear, Peter Quill himself, Star-Lord, said that, Chris Pratt, I keep mixing up the names of like their real life names and their superhero names. But anyways, Chris Pratt said that this script is better than the first two Guardians. So I'm excited to see what they do there. But honestly, I think Chris Pratt is a little bit too famous to stick around. I mean, he has the Lego franchise, he has the Jurassic World franchise, and they're probably gonna call him up for future franchises. Hell, I wouldn't be shocked if they sign him up for a Pixar movie and he's the voiceover for that. Now, two guys I didn't talk about: Rocket and Groot. I think these guys are sticking around for a while. I know Bradley Cooper is at the point that he's like a A-level star ever since A Star Is Born. And Vin Diesel, I mean, all he does is say, "I am Groot." And I'm not even sure where that Fast and Furious franchise is going anywhere or something. But if I were them, I would take advantage. And when they're done with this series, if they do Thor 4, they could do Rocket, Groot, and Thor. That is like a funny combination. They were the best parts of Infinity War. Or one of the highlights of Infinity War. I wouldn't say the best. That would be Doctor Strange and Iron Man, and Thanos, of course. Now, the guy I didn't talk about is Adam Warlock. He's gonna be probably the villain of Guardians 3, but then he's gonna turn into a good guy. And I know that he's not technically a member of this particular group. I'm not talking about Guardians, but I'm talking about what I'm about to talk about. But I wouldn't be shocked if they put him with the Eternals. Everybody's been talking about the Eternals. Everybody's been talking about all these characters. I don't even know who these characters are, but based on what I've read, they're pretty much bad guys and good guys and stuff like that. It's kind of confusing, but this could bring in Silver Surfer. This could bring back all the cosmic, the cosmic universe. That's Doctor Strange, but like all these like outer space characters. And I think that's what they're gonna do with Adam Warlock. He's gonna be part of the Eternals. That's my prediction for that. There's nothing more to talk about the Eternals. I don't know much about them, so that's where I'll leave it at. Now let's talk about the TV shows. Disney Plus. I already talked about how the Ronin or the Hawkeye show could happen, of him training the girl. I don't want that. I prefer the Ronin TV show. But, so what we got? Loki. I think, due to the timeline, I think he's going to be this is going to be like a major part of it, because this is 2012 Loki, after he was defeated. Pretty much he didn't have to experience his mother being killed. Maybe he will in this timeline, who knows, but this is still the villain Loki that we fell in love with in the very beginning when we met him in the first Thor movie. So a show based around that could be pretty interesting. And honestly, now I'm excited for that show. At first I wasn't, but now I am, based on how this is playing off. And the fact that they didn't cheapen the movie and bring him back to life like he always does. Maybe we could experience why he could do that. Or how is it that he's that manipulative. WandaVision. This one's a little bit confusing. This will probably bring in the X-Men more than anything. But Wanda or Scarlet Witch, I guess she's just gonna experience her past. I think I'm very excited for this show. Maybe we could turn her evil and then she could take on the next future Avengers and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be shocked though what they do with her. Which leads me to Falcon and Bucky. This is probably the most old school show we'll get. It's gonna be like a buddy cop show, a better buddy cop than Captain Marvel and Nick Fury, for sure. And it's probably gonna teach Falcon how to be the next Captain America, which I'm excited for. A lot of people were debating whether it should have been Bucky or Falcon. I think Falcon makes sense because let's say they we go back to Captain America's timeline where he goes back to dance with Peggy Carter. What if in that timeline he finds Bucky and he turns into Captain America, and then we do a show around that if we wanted to. There's that. And also in this show, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a character that I'm probably not gonna bring up, and I just thought about him, but let's just get him out of the way. War Machine. I don't see anything else happening with him, especially now that he's like busy with Kendrick Lamar music videos and stuff like that. But yeah, there's that. So with that said, let's move on. Apparently I just got a phone call from work. I gotta get there pretty soon. Anyways, up next, let's talk about yeah. So anyways, Falcon, the TV shows, I don't think they're gonna be a main part in connecting with the movies, but I think they're gonna serve their purpose. That's the thing. Speaking of TV shows, the Defenders, they're done. I don't see them coming back. Maybe they get recruited by Nick Fury somehow, because for some reason they could call Spider-Man, but they can't call the Defenders. But honestly, from what I hear, they're gonna reboot them, and I'm actually okay with that. I think the Netflix shows serve their purpose, but I felt like that was just a side origin, so we get a hint of who they are. But now let's move on to a reboot where we could actually get a Luke Cage, a Daredevil, and Iron Fist, a better Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. You know, their Punisher. I think they're done with that character for sure. There's nothing we could do with him. I haven't seen season 2 of Punisher. I'm getting to it, but I think they're done with him, especially because the actor's very, very fucking expensive. So there's that. Let me just text my boss. Yeah, I have to go to work and apparently late notice, but anyways, with that said, let's just move on to the next thing. Let's see. What was I doing? So yeah, I'm done with the Defenders. Up next is the. Okay, I put these guys on the list, but I really don't care about these characters, so let's just say fuck them. It was the Inhumans. It's kind of hard to make a show or a TV show or movie based on a bunch of characters no one knows, and especially acting like they're the shit. They were gonna be a movie. They were gonna be pretty much the next X-Men, but apparently, you know, after Ant-Man and the Wasp, everything happening, I think it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, I haven't seen the show itself, but even the trailers, even the fucking trailers look like shit. So who am I closing with? Today's 15. Well, alright, I could work with that. So, anyways, back to everything else I was gonna say. Sorry about that. I keep spacing out. Let's talk about what I was excited to talk about. Fox. Yes, Disney owns Fox now, or they bought them. Pretty ironic how the Simpsons, of all people, predict this shit to happen. How the fuck does the Simpsons predict everything? They predicted 9/11, they predicted Ebola, they predicted fucking Donald Trump as president of the United States, and they even predicted that they were gonna be bought by Disney. How the fuck does that keep happening? Anyways, X-Men, Fantastic Four, they're officially done. There's talk that they probably won't be around until Phase 5. Honestly, this is the only reason why I'm watching Dark Phoenix, just in case they actually are connected, and Kevin Feige's just been lying to us this whole time. But that's probably the only reason why I want to watch Dark Phoenix, just so I could see how this connects to everything. Um, if it even does. Plus, I have to review all the X-Men movies based on like my folder of movies. There's that also. I talked about. I'm gonna talk about Ghost Rider and Blade. These guys are other guys I could see having like a TV show, maybe a movie deal. I honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they just like erase these characters from existence. I feel like they did what they could in Agents of Shield. Blade had his movies. I think we're good with these characters. I wouldn't be shocked if they never come back. I'm okay with that. We don't have to bring everybody back. You know, we don't have to like literally get everybody back. It's just overkill and it's just annoying. Now X-Men, these guys just need a reboot at this point. Just reboot the characters. There's nothing worth doing anymore with the current X-Men that they got. They need a new Wolverine. It's gonna be overkill with everybody, but yeah, I can see why it's gonna take a long time for these guys to show up to the big screen. Maybe they show up in WandaVision. Who knows? But anyways, the fact that the multiverse is officially upon us, I think this is probably the easiest way to bring him in. Fantastic Four is a little bit easier to bring into the franchise just because it's just 4 characters. You don't have to rely on like a shit ton of characters all at once. But the Fantastic Four is pretty good. From what I hear, the theory is that they bought the Avengers facility. That's the way they come to this universe. I personally want Oscorp to buy it because the idea of no Oscorp in the Spider-Man world is fucking like it's too hard to like take serious. You can't have a Spider-Man without Ben Parker and Oscorp. I accepted the no Ben Parker and just making it Iron Man his story, you know, instead of Ben Parker. But we need Oscorp. We need one of those two. I just can't see this Spider-Man without Oscorp. It's just too hard. That's why it's hard to take Ned serious sometimes, just because it's not Harry Osborn. I prefer that guy over Ned. Plus Ned is more of a Miles Morales character. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Anyways, so yeah, these guys might take a while to come in. Fantastic Four is probably just a piece of cake. Plus, from the theory that, honestly, out of this Fox deal, the thing I'm more excited for is that now we got some more badass villains. We got Magneto, we got Doctor Doom, and then probably the next big villain, Galactus. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the next character. This next character, I put him in a separate lineup just because I don't know where he is. Shang-Chi, apparently he's like this Japanese or Chinese fighter. People are hyping this character up. I don't even know who the hell this is, but from what I hear, this is probably going to be the next big movie, unless it's another Inhumans. Hopefully not. Or worse, Iron Fist. Yeah, actually, take that back. Inhumans is far worse than Iron Fist. At least Iron Fist, I sat through that shit. Hell, at least I got to season 2. Now, let's talk about the A-Force. They were a big part of Endgame. Remember that scene where Captain Marvel just shows up and then all these girls line up all at once? Think about it. It was just ridiculous. How did the Wasp go from let me fix the quantum realm to let me get in this lineup? No, it was too like forced. It was yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if that's why they're called A4, because it was forced to the core. Anyways, I'm excited for A-Force. I do want to see a show or a movie based around this. I wouldn't be shocked if this is the lineup for the Captain Marvel sequel. But personally, from what I've seen, if Valkyrie takes over, I'm excited for that, because Valkyrie is probably one of my favorite characters. Tessa Thompson can do no wrong. She got me excited for Men in Black. How many people could say that? Just saying. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents on A-Force. Hopefully they get a better writing group. Whatever they got for Captain Marvel, if they keep that writing, throw that shit out the fucking garbage. That was just bad. Not that Captain Marvel was a bad movie. It was just, I don't know. It just needed to be a whole lot better, and we needed a hero that wasn't too like arrogant and too SJW. It's just no. I cannot live with that. Sorry, it's the fucking truth. You can make all the money you want, but at the end of the day, I want a good movie. Let's get this one out of the way. The Spider-Verse. Yes. The multiverse, the Spider-Verse, whatever you want to call it. From what it looks like, Venom is probably going to come. Tom Hardy's going to come enter the Spider-Verse. I wouldn't be shocked if Venom 3 is Tom Holland versus Tom Hardy. Battle of the Toms, Battle of the Spiders. That would be a badass way to cap off the trilogy. Think about it. You go from all the Venoms to Carnage to Spider-Man himself. That sounds pretty cool. I wasn't too big on the first Venom movie, but it was silly. It was fun. I didn't hate it. It was kind of a fucking weird movie, but I still had fun with it. The Spider-Verse, I personally want that to stay on its own thing because that shit was awesome. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is probably the best Spider-Man movie out there. And yes, I'm including Homecoming. I'm including the original 2 Raimi films. Fuck the Garfield movies. That shit was just bad. Anyways. If they connect all of that, it's just gonna be overkill, and I don't know. And I don't know. I do want to see Miles Morales in the MCU, but I don't want him to be a big part of it. He can have his own franchise out somewhere else. And hell, they could still cast Shamik Moore. I wouldn't be shocked if they did this. What if after the snap, because Miles Morales was confirmed in this universe, Donald Glover, the Prowler, he brought up that he has a nephew. He doesn't want weapons, those kinds of weapons that the Vulture was selling around that neighborhood. So I wouldn't be shocked if during the snap, Miles Morales survived and he grew up, and now Peter and Miles can now team up. That is cool. Hell, if they make a deal, if Sony makes a deal where we could keep Tom Holland around, I wouldn't be shocked if they do Spider-Man and Miles Morales for the 3rd installment of that series. Anyways, the last thing I want to talk about is characters I did not talk about. And here, what I predict are going to be the new Avengers 6. The 6 characters that I think are going to be the core Avengers of this new franchise. Now, a lot of the main 4 have a lot in common. Then the other 2 are just kind of throw in. But based on how good their franchise or how solid their franchise has been, they need to be the next lineup of the Avengers. But Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think I'm okay with their 3rd installment not happening, because what are they gonna do? Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp 2? No. Or they could do a Wasp movie, which I'm alright with it. I'm not gonna go rush to see it. It's probably one of the least exciting movies out of that series I just said. But I think if they put him, because Evangeline Lilly and Paul Rudd are two great actors. Plus, Paul Rudd is one of my all-time favorite comedy actors out there. I love them in Friends. I love them in Anchorman, and even some of his lame shit like Wonderlust. He was a good add-in to the movie series. But I just love Paul Rudd. This guy's just a genius when it comes to his comedy. But then the other 4, Spider-Man, if they sign up a deal where he could stick around for much longer, I would love him to be a mega part of the next 6 Avengers. So there's 3. But the last 3, they all have something in common. The last 3 I want to talk about, they all have their own separate worlds that they need to take care of. But if they bring them together, it could be pretty interesting on what they do. And those three are Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, and Black Panther. It would be cool if they do a story where Captain Marvel's doing her own mission and she can't no way in hell win. And then she gets to the point where she's like, nope, I need to form a team. I need to form the next Avengers. Plus Nick Fury, from what it looks like, he's setting up these the next 6 Avengers. But it gets to the point where she's like, yeah, you know what? I need to be a part of a bigger, this universe, because there's no way in hell I could beat these guys. It's just hard. I have to realize that I can't. While I could be the strongest Avenger, I'm not. That she's weak, because that's what makes superheroes good, when they have a weakness. That's why no one could relate to Captain Marvel, and that's why no one could relate to Thor early on in the series. So maybe this is the way to redeem Captain Marvel. As far as Doctor Strange, he has to, watch the whole Sanctum and all these wizards and stuff. I keep forgetting their names, but so maybe he could be a part of it. But I like how all these main 3 have a lot in common, in the sense that they all have their own shit to do. But this could be the perfect way to bring them together. And Black Panther, how the hell did he become the #1 superhero? He went from a C level character to an A level star in a matter of seconds. Now, frankly, it's about just perfect timing, and the movie was great. And hell, it's what got the MCU Oscars, for fuck's sakes. Even though their CG was shit, but Ryan Coogler is definitely one of the greatest directors out there today, and he's gonna carry this franchise to victory, and I'm just excited. There's talks of Storm entering this universe. I'm okay with that. It's just kind of, I don't know what they're gonna do with Lupita Nyong'o, unless they pull a Jane Foster and just erase her completely. So there's that. But since these 6 are the only ones with their own separate movie franchises, it would make sense to bring these 6 together and make them the core Avengers. So the core Avengers are the new 6 are Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp. That sounds like a good lineup, and it's a good variety, because we don't want to have the next Iron Man. We don't want to have the next. I mean, even though we're getting the next Captain America, it's going to be overbloated. What we want is the next heroes who are willing to take over. We don't. This is the perfect way to reboot them. If that's going to be the case. So that's my thing. And I like how all 6 of these have their own separate stories. So when they do come together, it's gonna be just as interesting. So that's why I picked these 6 in particular to be the next 6 Avengers. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the MCU. Kind of a long video, but hope you guys enjoyed it. It's me, the ALE Double X Prince. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And until then, I'm out.